One of the hot-button issues in U.S.-Mexico relations for the last couple of decades has been immigration. And we've seen a huge influx over 3 decades of Mexicans to the United States. It started to trickle in the 1970s, we saw it double in the 1980s, and double again in the 1990s and early 2000s. But this flow that's been coming from Mexico has decreased in the last 5 years. And the reasons behind the decrease, many of them are ones that suggest it will never increase to the levels of before again. And one of the biggest is demographic. Mexico had a huge youth bulge in the 1980s and 1990s. A huge number of Mexicans turning 18 each year, and many looking for jobs, either in Mexico, where there were few because of economic crises, or in the United States, where many of them came. You look at the number of Mexicans turning 18 every year compared to, say, the mid-1990s, and there's hundreds of thousands fewer each year. So there's hundreds of thousands fewer Mexicans needing to enter the workforce, needing a job somewhere. And that dynamic is unlikely to change again in the future. Mexicans in the 1970s had on average almost 7 kids per family. Today, it's just slightly more than 2 kids per family, the same rate as the United States. So this demographic boom that we saw has faded and it's unlikely it will ever appear again. So this demographic shift means we'll not see the pressure that's led to so much of the tension around immigration that we've seen in the past. Also happening in Mexico has been a growing and increasingly vibrant economy. And so there's more places for Mexicans to stay home rather than to immigrate to the United States. We also see with smaller families, parents investing more and more in their kids' education. So more kids are staying longer in school, they're going into college, they're looking for jobs at home, and so this push that you saw in the past that led them to the United States has also faded. So overall, while we've seen a huge influx in 30 years of Mexicans in the United States, some 11, perhaps 12 million Mexicans living in the United States today, and will continue to have strong ties on both sides of the border, the push that led to so much of the tension between our two nations around immigration has now faded.